Once you've imported or created a runbook, it's time to set it up so that we can run it. I just imported this IAM user from the list of unSkript runbooks, and now I want to configure it so I can run it. So let's get started here. You can see here it says running is disabled, and that's because we haven't connected it to the various systems that it needs to access. So let's do that right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we click this button here. We have a whole bunch of options here. We can disable this from running. It's already disabled. We don't need to do that. We can move it into a folder. So you can create folders to organize your runbooks. You can delete it. You can create a copy. You can download it. In this case, let's just open the details. When we open up the details of this runbook, and I'm just going to slide my face over here for a second, you can see that this was created on March 9th at 11 in the morning. You can see the input parameters. In this case, you're creating an IAM user at AWS, and this is the username, and then you can add a key value pair as well at the same time. This lists all of the executions. In this case, I haven't had any executions. You can add a schedule. So if you have this running, you can set a schedule so that this runbook runs every day, every hour, once a week, the first of the month, right? It's sort of depending on what your action is doing. If it's something that has to recur on a regular basis, you can automate that here. And then finally, we have environments. You can set the different environments you want this to run in, and we will cover that in a later video because that's a little bit more specialized. You can enable the environment selection, so you can pick which one by forcing that by clicking this button. You can also only let this run once it's been approved by someone more senior. Now, maybe for creating an IAM user, this doesn't matter, but maybe if you're like deleting tables in production, when you have a runbook that does that, maybe that needs to get approved by someone before you run that runbook. Okay, so let's actually go into the runbook so we can edit it and get it ready so that it's ready to run. So to do that, we're going to click the editor button here. And this opens up the Jupyter Notebook. So now the Jupyter Notebook has opened, and you can see that this unSkript internal action has run. And that's an important bit. That's how we get everything configured so that we can connect with all of our connectors. We start off with a description of what this runbook does. And then in this one is explaining what this first step is, which is creating the IAM user. To make this work, we need to pick some credentials. So let's pick my production AWS credentials. And here we can see the parameters. We're going to set the username to username, tag key to tag key, and tag value to tag value. Now these are all variables. So where are they being defined? We haven't defined any variables. If you come up here to the top, we can see that there's input parameters. These are parameters that are configured for the runbook. And we saw those on the details page. And in this case, the default value for the tag key is service, and the value is dev MongoDB, and the default username is test. And if we want to change these, we can just come up here and edit them. So we can change this to test video, right? And that's going to add an IAM user called test video. So now if we run this action, we've added our credential, and we can hit run. And we can see here that we got an HTTP status code of 200. Now, it might be that you don't have any credentials set up to AWS yet. You can come down here, click Add Credential, and it'll walk through the steps to add a credential. This is documented on our website, and we'll also have a video on how to configure your credentials in this playlist. Okay, so now we've run the first one, and now we're going to create a login profile for the IAM user. So let's look at the configuration for this one. Again, we need to set our credentials here. So again, we'll set it to Doug Production AWS, and then let's get these parameters. We're going to take in the username again, right? So test video, and we're going to give a password of test@123. Now, there's concern that this might not be super secure, but if we actually look into the code here by clicking this opens up the Python code. We can scroll through here, and one of the settings is that once you've created this login profile, as soon as they log in, they're going to have to reset their password. So, maybe we should have a random number generator in here to make that password a little bit more unique rather than test at 123. But in this case, once the person logs in, or once this IAM user login is created, they'll have to reset it anyway. All right, so this should be all set up. So I'm just going to close the code up just to make it a little more easy to follow here. I'm going to press run, and we can see here we got the password reset required is true. We got the status code of 200, meaning okay, this was done. Awesome. So that's step 2 done. This next one is going to get the identity. So who made this request? So again, we can come to this configuration, set up our credential. There are no inputs because the identity is me, right? And so it's going to have that identity here once I run it. So again, this is the user ID. So that's probably like my keys, my secret key, not the key, secret. Okay, and now finally what we're going to do is we're going to post this to Slack, right? Hey, we created this user inside AWS. So again, we need to set up our credentials, Doug Production Slack. The channel is going to be DevRel Doug Test 1. And I've got that in quotes because this is no longer a variable, this is a string. And then the message we're going to send is a new IAM user, and then we're going to publish the username. And so when I press run here, you can see it's now completed, and it says successfully sent message on channel, DevRel Doug Test 1. And so now if we look in Slack, we can see that the Slack bot has sent a message, new IAM user test video. So in this video, what we've done is we've taken a runbook that existed and we've configured it so that it can be run. Now at this point, we should probably save what we've done so that all of these configurations are saved. And if we come back to the runbooks page, we now see that this one is ready to go. We can run this now. It used to say running is disabled. Now it's ready to go. So if I click run here, it's going to say, what do you want to put in here? And so we can say service 123. We can do 123, and we can do test 123. And now we can run it from here. And this will run all of the steps in the runbook. It now says run in progress. And now that it's completed, we can come here to Slack and we can see that a new IAM test video 123 has been completed. So in this video, what we did is we had a runbook that wasn't configured. We configured all of the settings, and then we ran it both inside the runbook manually by hitting each action and running them individually. And then we went back to the main runbook page, hit the run, and ran the runbook. Thanks for watching, and watch this channel for more instructional videos on how to configure your unSkript instance. Thank you very much.